Welcome to the video for the second chapter of the Cambridge Introduction to Sanskrit, which is going to tell you a little bit more about the system of Sanskrit sounds. This chapter mostly contains background information, i.e. not information that you need to know or need to memorize, but being aware of it will be useful throughout your Sanskrit studies because it will help you understand the relationships between large numbers of noun forms, verb forms, and so on that you will indeed have to memorize. The arrangement of the Sanskrit alphabet, i.e. the arrangement of the sounds of Sanskrit in their customary order, actually will help us understand the relationships between these sounds because this arrangement follows certain simple linguistic principles. And these principles are sounds are ordered from simple to complex and from back to front. So what does that mean from simple to complex? First of all, when we have the customary order of sounds, we find the vowels first, the consonants second. Vowels are sounds such as a, e, or u, which are easily pronounced on their own, whereas consonants such as k, t, p, and so on are much more difficult to pronounce on their own, such as k, t, or p, and therefore Sanskrit, just like English, would usually cite these consonants in combination with another vowel. So we don't say k, t, p, but we say k, t, p, and so on. In Sanskrit, it would be ka, ta, pa. So vowels are considered simpler than consonant because they're more easily pronounceable on their own. Now let's look at the vowels. They within themselves are also listed according to the principle of simple to complex and actually also according to back to front. So we find simple vowels, single vowels listed first, a, I, u, r, l. And then we find complex vowels, e, I, o, au. To understand why those last four are considered complex, we need to know that these originally were not e, I, o, au, but actually at an earlier point in the language were I, au, and au. Knowing this, that they originally were I, au, first of all helps us understand why they're considered complex. Each of them consists of actually two vowels, they're so-called diphthongs. But having this knowledge that e, I, o, au originally were I, au, actually will also be very helpful very soon because it will help us understand how these forms, how these vowels, e, I, o, au, appear in different shapes in different parts of words. You'll see what I mean soon, even though now it sounds terribly abstract. Now I said that the vowels are listed not just from simple to complex, but also from back to front. If you think about the pronunciation of a, I, u, r, l, you can maybe feel that the pronunciation goes from the back of the mouth to the front of the mouth. When you say a, the pronunciation of that is fairly far down in your mouth, whereas the pronunciation of l, it happens right at your teeth. So from back to front within the simple vowels. The reason why that l, that long vocalic L, is listed in brackets is because it actually doesn't exist within Sanskrit. It is listed in grammars simply to make the system a little more balanced. After the vowels, we come to the consonants, and among those we first have the 20 stops and nasals. Stops are so called because in order to pronounce them, you stop the air somewhere in your mouth. And the nasals are so called because in order to pronounce them, you actually open the connection between your mouth and your nasal cavity. And so your nose vibrates along with your mouth when you say and so on. Within these stops, we again go from back to front and from simple to complex. So the first 5 in this list are k, k, g, g, and ng. They are pronounced all the way at the back of your mouth. They're called velar because they're pronounced close to your velum, which is at the back top of your mouth. So k, k, g, g, ng. We think of them as ordered from simple to complex because k is a sound that is unvoiced and unaspirated. Unvoiced means that voice, i.e. vibration in your vocal cords, is absent. When I say k, my vocal cords don't vibrate, whereas if I say g, which is voiced, they do vibrate. So vibration of your vocal cords is also called voice. We have, first of all, unvoiced, unaspirated. Then we have k, which is unvoiced but aspirated. So aspiration means that you add a puff of air, so to create the contrast between k and k. Then next we have voiced unaspirated and voiced aspirated, so g and g. And then finally we have nasal, n. We then repeat this sequence of unvoiced unaspirated, unvoiced aspirated, voiced unaspirated, voiced and aspirated, and nasal, a little bit closer to the front of the mouth in the palatal sounds, which are ch, ch, j, j, and ñ. So they are considered or they are listed together because they are produced or pronounced in the same part of the mouth with your tongue or the back of your tongue touching the palate, i.e. the roof of the mouth. Ch, ch, j, j, ñ. Next come the retroflex sounds, which are produced by retroflecting, i.e. by curling back your tongue, and they are d, 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 and n. Next come the dentals, which are produced by stopping the air close to your teeth, your dentes. So you have d, t, d, d, and n. And finally come the labial sounds, which are produced with your lips, and they are b, 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 and m. After the stops and the nasals, we then get the remaining consonants, the semivowels or glides, the sibilants or S sounds, and finally H. The semivowels y, r, l, w are again ordered according to where in the mouth they are pronounced, from back y to front w. And they're called semivowels because they correspond to the full vowels I, L, and U, in the sense that if you have one of these full vowels in front of a different vowel, they very easily turn into their semivowel equivalents. So for example, if I say I, A, and I don't make a conscious break between those two vowels, a y will slip in very easily. I, A, I, A, I, A. I hope you can hear the y that's appeared in there. Similarly with ooh-wah, ooh-wah, you can hear how a w sound has appeared in there. And so, in many word forms, you will find that the full vowels interchange with their semivowel equivalents, or sometimes a semivowel will appear after the original full vowel. So, oo can turn into w, or it can turn into oo-w. If you know the relationship between these forms, you will be able to understand, if you understand the relationship between these sounds, you will be able to understand the relationship between various word forms much more easily. After the semivowels, we have the sibilants, sh, sh, and s, corresponding to the palatal, retroflex, and dental series of stops and nasals. So, sh, sh, s correspond in their order to palatal, retroflex, dental, which is the order that we find stops appearing in. Again, going from back to front. And then finally, we have H, which simply stands on its own. Earlier I said that it is useful to know about the links between the Sanskrit sounds and about how these links are represented in the conventional way of ordering the Sanskrit sounds. And I would like to show you what I mean by that. However, it's a little difficult at the moment because you just don't know that many Sanskrit words yet. But I would like to still try and give you at least a little bit of a taste. So in Sanskrit and in English, we have the situation where many words are derived from the same basis. So in English, for example, entertainer, entertaining, entertainment, entertains, and so on, are all derived from the same basis, namely entertain. And the links between these words, between entertainer and entertaining and entertainment, for example, are perfectly obvious. In Sanskrit, we've got the same situation, namely many different words derived from the same basis. However, Here the difference is that these words can take a large variety of shapes and the links may not be as obvious unless you do know about the ways in which the different Sanskrit sounds are related to each other. So for example, if you know about the link between vowels and their semivowel equivalents, you can then easily see how words such as bhu and bhavati, meaning respectively the earth, that which exists or that which is, and he, she, it is, how these words are related. If you can tell how these different words are related to each other, this is helpful to you because rather than memorizing lots and lots of individual words, what you will have to do is know the basis that they are derived from and know a little bit about how you can derive different words from one and the same basis. And then you can understand the derived words rather than having to memorize each of them individually. Similarly, if you know about the relationship between the complex vowels e, I, o, au and their earlier shape I, au, au, then you can maybe see a little more easily how chur, chora and chaurya, to take, to steal, thief and robbery respectively, how they belong together. Because what we've got here is not just a random pattern or a random series of vowels u, o, au, but rather we have u, au, au with just a simple u, an a plus an u, and a long a plus an u. And you will see that this pattern of adding a or a in front of another vowel is actually something that you will find very frequently. Also, it's useful to know about the relationships between consonants. So to know what the voiced equivalent of an unvoiced sound is, for example, or also to know what the palatal equivalent of a velar sound is and vice versa, because very often we find these alternating. So a voiced consonant may become unvoiced, an aspirated consonant may become unaspirated, a velar may be replaced by its palatal counterpart, and so on. If we know about this, then we can understand, for example, how from the basis bhaj, which means to allot or to give to, and especially to give something that someone deserves to be given and therefore to honor them or to worship them, how from that basis we can derive forms such as the adjective bhaj, which means worshipping, bhaga, a portion or an allotment, and bhakti, which means giving out, handing out, or specifically giving out what should be giving out, so respect or worship. What we have here is a relationship between j, g, and k, that is not obvious to the untrained eye. So what I want you to do is to train your eye to recognize that j is the palatal counterpart of g, and g is the voiced counterpart of k. And so if you know about this, you can easily see how bhaj, bhaga, bhakti all are related to this basic form bhaj, and mostly you will then just have to memorize this basic form bhaj. This is one purpose of this chapter. The other purpose, quite simply, is to give you something hopefully helpful to think about while you at the same time get to know the Devanagari script better. I hope that's all going well.